Hi students, just a quick video to show you how you can go about the encryption topic, possibly if you're at home or still on remote learning. So your lesson log will hopefully direct you to go into the encryption section of your class page, so we'll go into there and we'll have a quick look at what's available. Firstly is the class itself. Now this topic or this class might run over 1 or 2 lessons depending on how your teacher's doing it, but basically there's a little bit of an explanation here that you can certainly read through. There is a video that you should watch, and there's the worksheet down here. The worksheet's also available over the side here on the files area, and there's a couple of other things we'll see in just a moment. Now the video itself, I'm not going to play the whole video for you. In fact, I'm not going to play it at all, but I'm just going to point out a couple of quick things for you. So the first part basically goes through what a Cipher cipher is, which is the topic you're doing, and how it works in theory. So you can obviously watch through this to hopefully understand what a Cipher cipher is and how it would be used. The second part of the video, or two-thirds way through roughly, let's see, here we go. This goes through an example of how you can build the Cipher cipher wheel, which is referenced in the worksheet. And this is a physical item that you can build that basically allows you to do the Cipher cipher a little bit more easily. So certainly you can watch through this and potentially make this at home, or it might be that you make this in class. So this sort of last third of the video is all about how to make and use that wheel. Now if you are at home, you can come over here to the file section and you can download the Cipher cipher wheel, and it will give you a Word document that you can open. We'll just let that come up, and I'll just bring that into the recording screen. There you go. So you can see there are the 2 parts you need. In fact, there's 2 on a page. So normally in class, we'll just cut this in half and give each of you a half. Now, for this to work, ideally, you put the small one on top of the big one, and you put what they call a split pin through the 2 center holes so that you can rotate one wheel separate to the other. That works best when it's printed on some cardboard. So if you're doing this at home, you might want to stick this first on, say, some thin cardboard from a cereal packet or something like that to give it a bit more strength. And if you don't have a split pin at home, and let's be honest, most people don't, that doesn't matter. You can still just overlay them and rotate it to where it needs to be. And like in the video, it'll show you that you put a paper clip over it to hold it in place, and that will work just as well if you don't actually have a pin in between. If you're very careful, you might be able to poke it through onto something a bit thicker underneath that's not going to get damaged with a normal drawing pin to hold it in place. So there's lots of ways you can do it. But you can still make this basically if you want to. In class, you might get a chance still to make it, even if you've done one at home, or your class may not have time depending on how things are going. The other option you've got as well, though, especially if you're working at home, is I've provided this link here on our page to an online version of that. So again, here you can see a wheel that looks basically the same, and it works in the same way where we can actually rotate this wheel on screen, so we can set it in very much the same way, and you can still read it in the same way. So if you can't or don't want to make the physical wheel because you're not able to at home, or you just honestly can't be bothered at home, then you can still use this wheel in the same way. So that's another option available to you. When you are ready, whether you've got the wheel or not virtually, you can download the worksheet, and of course that's a Word document that should be generally completed on the worksheet itself and submitted on Schoolbox, unless of course your teacher tells you something different. So the first page again is just the introduction, very much the same as what's on Schoolbox. The second page is the actual work. For some reason my computer right now is showing the links as code, so sorry about that if it's showing up like that for you. It shouldn't be, but they're just those same links to download the printable wheel and also the online wheel in case you need it. The first section here is pretty straightforward. We've got some plain text here that you need to encode, to encrypt I should say, so that I can't read it. And on the side here, of course, it tells you what key. So you have to set your cipher wheel to key number 9 for this first option, and you have to turn this text into the cipher text and write it in here. For the next one, you do key 12 and turn that text into cipher, and so forth. Down here we have 4 of them that you need to decode, or decrypt I should say. So again, you need to set it to the right key value first, so we've been told it's key number 4, and then you need to decrypt, so you need to find out what P actually becomes when you're using key 4, and so forth. And the last one, the sort of special one if you like, is in the middle here. You have to set your cipher wheel to key 20, and then you need to start by putting your name in here. So if I was doing this, of course, I'd fill that in with my first name, and I only need your first name. You don't need to do second, but if you feel like it, you can. And you then need to encrypt this entire piece. So over here, you would have my name is, and in my case, Nathan, all encrypted with key number 20. So that's very easy for us to do a double check to make sure how you're going, because this is what's going to be unique for everybody. Again, to be honest, everyone could just copy the answers for the rest of the worksheet because we're all using the same keys, we're all using the same decryption and encryption basically, but this will start by giving your teacher a good idea about whether or not you have in fact understood this process, because if you don't encrypt your name properly, then obviously you haven't done it properly at all. So that's a basic explanation of how you can go about this task, both remotely, but also enough information for if you're doing it at school as well. But again, at school, chances are your teacher will have just gone through this and you probably haven't even watched this video. Anyway, whichever way it works for you, I hope you have some fun doing it, and we'll see you in class when we do.